All right, so hello and welcome to the video. My name is Wade Smith. This video is in response to a brief conversation exchange of posts on Ramsey Dewey's thread because he flat out does not believe in joint locks, even though I personally know that they both work on me and they work on everyone I've ever tried them on, including pro fighters. Um, but he claims that joint locks are too low percentage to be reliable against another pro fighter, which is BS. They just don't know them well enough. They don't practice them. And I know they don't practice them because I've been to Gracie dojos and joint locks are banned below blue belt. So you don't even start learning joint locks until you've got a blue belt, which puts you years behind in development of joint locks. In Ishinru karate class, you start learning joint locks at yellow belt, 90 hours after white belt. All right. Um, so the first thing, I don't have a gi anymore but let's just show that with the windbreaker, for example. In karate class, let's pretend this was a gi. In karate class, because this is the reason gis are banned in MMA now, is because they're used as a weapon both ways, both against the person wearing the gi and by the person wearing the gi. All right, so pretend this is a gi for half a moment. And I realize it's kind of crummy, but it's an LSU windbreaker. All right. So when your opponent throws a jab, you're unlikely to ever catch a jab out of the air, and I admit that. But the cross and the reverse hook punch can be caught by a middle block, and I've done it thousands of times. So don't tell me it can't be done, even at full speed. Um, so when you catch a gi, one of the reasons gis are banned in MMA now is because it actually makes it too easy to catch the person by the sleeve and put them into a reverse wrist lock or a front or full wrist lock. All right. And so that's one reason it gets banned. The other reason is it's too easy to use the gi in a front choke or rear naked choke and grab hold of the gi and lock the person down just like you have a Garrett on them. All right. And then they're pretty much going to die without a referee telling you to stop choking them to death. But that's what the thing is. So a gi makes it this easy to catch the other person's arm and put a wrist lock on them and turn their wrist, and then you get them by the thumb. Once you turn their wrist using the sleeve, you get them by the thumb and by the back of the hand, and you go into what's called the full wrist lock, which looks something like this. You torque that way on the wrist itself and down and back and in all at once, and then you just knee strike them and kick them over and over because they're pretty much helpless. All right. So Ramsey Dewey does not believe that I used to beat two second-degree black belts in a handicap match, and they were not cream puff black belts. They would beat the living hell out of anybody in a street fight. One of them was a veteran Marine who happened to be an active duty police officer, a 235-pounder on the low end of modern heavyweight in MMA would be. And the other was exactly 155 pounds because I asked him his weight every month just to make sure we were staying about the same weight we thought we were. And he was exactly 155 pounds. And at the time, I was in the prime of my life and 185 pounds. I know that's hard to believe to look at me now because now I have type 2 diabetes and severe hemochromatosis and severe hypercalcemia, and it's destroying my body. They don't know how to treat it. And I eat as good or better than what they tell me to eat, and it doesn't help. So that's a different matter. But back then, where did I place that thing? This is my last promotion plaque. What does it say on there? First Q. And the truth is, I got promoted to first Q twice because they changed the ranking standards that year, and I had to re-rank up to first Q. I should be a first degree black belt, but that's another matter. But so how do you beat multiple black belts or brown belts or black belts in a handicap fight? Because that's part of the test is that sensei makes you fight multiple, if you're supposed to fight multiple brown belts, if you're a black belt candidate. And the day that he was testing me that time, that he started doing that to me with the black belts, he didn't have any brown belts in class other than myself that day. So he put me against both second-degree black belts that he had. And I beat both of them in a no-holds-barred. The only rules was no eye gouging, no biting, and no throat jab. That was the 3 rules of sparring in the dojo. And I beat both of them. And how did I do it? I got a wrist lock on the 155-pounder, and I held his body between myself and the 235-pound ex-Marine. Forgive me, veteran Marine, but whatever. And I held him between myself and the Marine, and I kicked his body over and over until he tapped out, and then I threw him aside and beat the Marine one-on-one. And that's the truth of my black belt test. And then after that, he did a test another day where he gave each of them an eskrima stick, and he gave me one eskrima stick, and I had to defend myself against both of them with eskrima sticks, and I successfully completed that test and disarmed them of both of their weapons. So that's doable. And just because you can't do it or you've never seen anyone do it doesn't mean it's not doable. I used to train harder than the guys in MMA. 300 push-ups a day, 200 lunges a day, 200 jumping jacks, 200 total sit-ups a day in 2 or 3 sets, depending on how many it took me to get it done. Because I did 2 sets of 50 at home on my own on push-ups, and then 5 sets of 20 push-ups in the cardio kickboxing class, and another 5 sets of 20 push-ups in the traditional class every single day. Because I worked out an hour on my own time at home and 3 hours a day in karate class. So what I told you was the truth. I should have gone professional fighter back then, and I didn't. And that was a mistake that I have regretted ever since then. Because I was on a completely different level than anyone that we had ever seen, and we all knew it. And my sensei told me I was making a mistake when I quit, and I quit anyway because it was my own choice and my own parents' choice, also giving me advice that we thought was the right thing to do, but it wasn't the right thing to do for me. I should have stayed in karate class and kicked ass.